The night after the party, Alex helped Juliana to the car, her heels clinking unevenly on the pavement. She was swaying like a drunkard. And every time she leaned too far, Alex caught her arm to steady her. "Do you think I'm drunk?" she asked, her voice slurring slightly but her tone playful. Alex chuckled. "Of course not. You're perfectly sober." Juliana laughed, swaying again. "I know what I'm doing," she said in an exaggerated tone, giggling as she almost tripped. "Sure you do," Alex muttered, rolling his eyes but smiling as he guided her into the car. On the ride home, Juliana leaned her head against the car window, humming a tune to herself. When they arrived, she was half asleep. Alex sighed, got out of the car, and scooped her into his arms. She stirred as he carried her through the house. "You're so strong," she murmured. "Thanks," Alex replied, trying not to laugh. He brought her to her room and gently placed her on the bed. As he turned to leave, she grabbed his hand with surprising strength. "Don't go," she whispered, her eyes still closed. "Stay with me." "Juliana." Alex hesitated. "Please," she murmured, her grip tightening. With a sigh, Alex gave in. He kicked off his shoes and lay beside her, stiff at first, but slowly relaxing as she nestled closer. Her head rested on his arm, and she hugged him tightly, like a child clinging to a safety blanket. As her breathing slowed, she murmured something he couldn't quite make out. Then, to his surprise, she kissed him softly on the lips and immediately started snoring. Alex blinked, unsure whether to laugh or be shocked. "Did she just—" he whispered. He tried to move, but her grip was ironclad. Finally, he sighed and let himself relax. "Beautiful girl, but stubborn," he muttered, staring at the ceiling. The next morning, the sunlight streamed into the room, and Alex woke up first. Juliana was still fast asleep, her head resting on his arm. She looked peaceful, her hair slightly tousled, and a soft smile on her lips. He shifted slightly, trying not to wake her, but the movement stirred her. Juliana groaned, stretched, and opened her eyes slowly. Her gaze landed on Alex, who was looking at her with a faint smile. "Good morning," he said. "Finally awake, huh?" Juliana blinked, still groggy. "What time is it?" she asked, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. "Almost noon," Alex replied, stretching his arms. "You slept like a baby." Juliana frowned. "Noon? I slept that long?" She suddenly froze, glancing at him suspiciously. "Wait, why am I sleeping on your arm?" Alex's grin widened. "I was wondering when you'd ask." Juliana's eyes narrowed. "Alex, don't tell me we did something last night?" "Something like what?" Alex teased, his voice laced with amusement. "You know what I mean," she said, sitting up straighter. Alex shook his head, his smile playful. "Don't worry. I'm a gentleman. I wanted to leave, but someone wouldn't let me." Juliana's jaw dropped. "I did that?" "Oh, you did more than that," Alex said, clearly enjoying himself. "Like what?" Juliana demanded. "Well," Alex began, leaning back. "After the party, I carried you to your bed. I was about to leave when you grabbed my hand and said, 'Don't leave me.' So, I stayed." Juliana blinked, stunned. "I said that?" "Oh, it gets better," Alex continued, smirking. "You snuggled up to me like a teddy bear, kissed me, right on the lips by the way, and then started snoring like a chainsaw." Juliana gasped, her hands flying to her face. "I snored." "Loudly," Alex confirmed, laughing. "But the best part? You wouldn't let me leave. You had me locked down all night." Juliana stared at him in disbelief. "You're making this up." "Am I?" Alex raised an eyebrow. "My arm's still numb from where you were sleeping on it. Your head is heavier than it looks, by the way." Juliana burst out laughing, hitting his shoulder lightly. "You're impossible, Alex. Why didn't you just push me off?" "Tried," Alex said with a grin. "But you're surprisingly strong when you're asleep. I figured it was safer to stay put." Juliana shook her head, laughing so hard she nearly fell back onto the bed. "I can't believe I kissed you." "Well, don't feel too bad," Alex said, smirking. "You're not exactly great at it." Juliana's laughter stopped abruptly. Excuse me? I'm just saying, Alex teased, leaning back casually. If you're going to randomly kiss someone, maybe work on your technique a little. Juliana grabbed a pillow and threw it at him, laughing again. Get out of my room. Alex caught the pillow, standing up. You're not even going to say thank you for staying with you all night. Juliana crossed her arms, trying to look serious but failing. Why would I thank you? You stayed because I told you to. Alex smirked, walking toward the door. Do you even know if I saw anything last night? Juliana froze. Alex, wait, do go. What do you mean? But Alex was already out the door, laughing. See, lunch date with James. At Lucy's apartment, James pulled up in his car, stepping out to greet her with his signature warm smile. Lucy hesitated for a moment, then joined him in the car. As they drove to a cozy little bistro, James kept the conversation light, sharing stories about his recent travels and memories of their past. Over lunch, James leaned forward, his tone playful. Remember that time we went to the beach and got caught in the rain? You were so mad because your hair got ruined, but you ended up laughing when I slipped on the sand. Lucy laughed, shaking her head. I'll never forget that. You were trying to show off, and the ocean humbled you. They both laughed, the tension between them melting as they reminisced. James continued bringing up moments from their time together, the silly things they did, the late-night adventures, and the countless times they supported each other through challenges. As they finished their meal, James took a more serious tone. Lucy, I've really missed this. You, us. It feels so natural being with you again. Lucy froze for a moment, unsure how to respond. James, things are different now. I know, he said gently, but I can't ignore how I feel. I want us to be back together. Lucy hesitated, then said softly, James, I have a boyfriend. James leaned back slightly, his expression calm but probing. Where is he? He's settling some things, Lucy said, trying to sound confident but feeling unsure. James nodded thoughtfully. Lucy, I want you to really think about something. Do you genuinely love him, or are you with him because he was there for you when I wasn't? Lucy didn't answer immediately, her heart suddenly heavy. James reached for her hand briefly. I'm not asking for an answer now, just search your heart. Figure out what you truly feel. Lucy forced a small smile. I'll think about it. Thank you for lunch, James. James smiled back. Anytime. As she stepped out of the car and watched him drive away, Lucy's thoughts were a whirlwind of emotions. She sighed deeply before heading back into her apartment, trying to shake the weight of the conversation. Back at Juliana's apartment, Alex was sitting on his bed, scrolling through his phone in his room, wearing only a pair of shorts and a singlet. The knock on the door barely registered before Juliana walked in without waiting for permission. Hello, Alex said, startled, looking up at her. Juliana froze for a moment, her eyes lingering on his defined torso and six-pack. She quickly looked away, clearing her throat. Sorry, I should have waited for you to invite me in. Alex smirked. Don't worry, you're already here. What's up? Juliana walked closer, holding her phone. I found something I think you should see. There's a workshop for sale. It's in a good spot and it looks like a great opportunity. I shortlisted 5, but this one's my favorite. She sat beside him on the bed, showing him pictures on her phone. Alex glanced at her, surprised. I didn't know you were searching for workshops for me. Juliana shrugged. I just thought it might help. Even so, Alex said, shaking his head, I don't have the money right now. I still need to pay off my loans, then I can get loan from bank, and we haven't even finished our deal. What if something urgent comes up? Don't worry about that, Juliana said firmly. I'll pay part of it for you. You can use the rest to clear your loans and help your girlfriend's mom. Alex stared at her, stunned. You'd do that for me? Of course, Juliana replied softly, looking into his eyes. I don't see you as my worker anymore. I consider you a friend. Alex smiled, moving closer and gently taking her hands. Thank you for that. It really means a lot to me. You're welcome, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. After a moment, Alex asked, "So, when are we getting married? We're already a month away from the end of this relationship." Juliana exhaled, leaning back slightly. "Don't worry. It won't be a big wedding, just a quiet one. My dad insisted we wait a little longer. I think he's still suspicious about us." Alex nodded, thinking for a moment. "I didn't realize how serious this deal was until I was already in it. I didn't even think about what people will say when I get married and divorced within a couple of months. And for you, they'll ask questions too." Juliana looked down. Her expression clouded. "I know. I rushed into this. I thought being in a relationship would be enough to convince my dad, but he keeps raising the bar." Alex squeezed her hand. "We'll figure it out, Juliana. Don't worry." They continued scrolling through pictures of workshops, discussing their pros and cons. At some point, Juliana realized she was leaning on Alex's shoulder. The warmth of his presence made her heart race. She quickly straightened, her pulse quickening as she noticed his broad shoulders and toned arms in his singlet. "Here," she said, handing him her phone. "Take the website and keep looking. I'll be back." Juliana left the room and walked to her own, shutting the door behind her. She leaned against it, clutching her phone to her chest. "What is happening to me?" she whispered, pacing. "Why do I feel this way? Why do I like him so much? I even want to give myself to him." Her heart raced as she shook her head, muttering to herself, "He has a girlfriend, Juliana. Wake up. Stop being ridiculous." She slapped her cheeks lightly, trying to shake off the feelings she couldn't control. The morning after her late-night reflection, Juliana stepped out of her room, holding her phone. A notification caught her eye, a message from her old Student Friends Association group on WhatsApp. She tapped it open, and it was a reminder about the planned reunion on Saturday. "I have even forgotten." She walked into Alex's room without knocking, since the room was open, finding him casually lying on his bed, scrolling on his phone. He looked up as she entered, raising an eyebrow. "Hey," she began, holding up her phone. "I got invited to a get-together with my old classmates. I was wondering—" She hesitated briefly before adding, "Will you come with me?" Alex sat up, intrigued. "Of course, we need to keep up appearances anyway, and this sounds like it could be fun." "Fun isn't exactly the word I'd use," Juliana muttered. "It's mostly gossip and showing off, but thank you." Alex smirked. "I'll brace myself. Let's do this." The party Saturday arrived, and Alex dressed in a sharp blazer and slacks, looking effortlessly handsome. When Juliana descended the stairs, he couldn't help but stare. She was wearing a fitted, elegant dress that hugged her curves and accentuated her figure. Her confidence made her even more radiant. "You look stunning," Alex said, standing to offer her his arm. Juliana smirked. "You're not so bad yourself. Let's go." In the car, as the driver took them to the venue, Juliana glanced at Alex. "Just a heads up, it's a girls' reunion, so expect lots of chatter and gossip. Try not to get overwhelmed." Alex grinned. "Don't worry, I've handled worse situations than a room full of women talking." Juliana laughed softly, but her heart felt lighter with him by her side. The venue was vibrant, filled with laughter and chatter. Guests sat at round tables decorated with fresh flowers and warm lighting. The moderator took the mic, her voice cheerful. "Ladies, it's been too long, 2 years to be exact. We've grown so much since then. Some of us are married, some have kids, and some are conquering the world in other ways. It's wonderful to see everyone here again." She outlined the agenda, and soon the conversations and laughter grew louder as old friends reconnected. Jealousy sparks. While Juliana caught up with her old friend near the buffet table, Alex sat alone at their table. A woman sitting nearby, Deborah, turned to him with a curious smile. "You must be Juliana's boyfriend," she said. Alex nodded politely. "Yes, I am." "You seem nice, gentle even," Deborah said, her tone teasing. "I hope she doesn't bully you too much." Alex chuckled. "Not at all. She's a very loving woman." Deborah raised an eyebrow, amused. "Well, that's one way to put it. She's definitely something special. Did she tell you about her high school days? She used to run the place, always competing for the top spot. Alex smiled, intrigued. She hasn't mentioned much about those days. Deborah began recounting stories about Juliana's teenage antics, her intense determination, and her hidden kindness. Alex listened, laughing occasionally at Deborah's playful tone. From across the room, Juliana glanced back and noticed Alex and Deborah deep in conversation. Her laughter with her friend faltered as a flicker of jealousy stirred in her chest. She excused herself and walked back to the table. "Deborah," Juliana said, her voice light but firm. "What are you gossiping about now?" Deborah smirked. "Still, the same old Juliana, always protecting your territory." Juliana turned to Alex. "Whatever she said about me, it's a lie. Don't believe her." Deborah laughed. "Relax, Juliana. I'm just catching up." "Anyway, where's your husband, Deborah?" Juliana asked, deflecting. Deborah shrugged. "He's abroad on business. But it's nice to see you've changed. You've really softened, Juliana." "Still the same me," Juliana said quickly. Another classmate joined their table, drawing Juliana into conversation. Deborah leaned back toward Alex, continuing their chat. "What school did you graduate from?" she asked. Alex answered casually. "City University." Deborah's face lit up. "No way, my husband went there too." As Deborah left to join the dance floor, Juliana turned back to Alex, her expression curious. "Are you really a graduate of mechanical engineering?" "Yes," Alex replied smoothly. "Why?" Juliana smiled. "I overheard your conversation, and you even came out with first-class honors. Guess I wasn't lying when I called you a first-class graduate." Alex smirked. "So, you guessed right." Juliana fell silent for a moment, then said softly, "I think I met you for a reason, Alex. I've learned so much from you already. No matter how this ends, I don't regret this." Before Alex could reply, the music shifted to a slow tune. Juliana extended her hand. "Dance with me, my love." Alex hesitated, but her smile was enough to convince him. They swayed together on the dance floor, laughing and talking quietly. The toast. As the song ended, Deborah grabbed a mic and tapped it to get everyone's attention. "Ladies, it's time for a toast," she announced, holding up her glass. "To our future couples-to-be. Juliana Edwards, this one's for you." The room erupted in cheers and applause. Juliana leaned into Alex, blushing slightly but keeping her composure. Deborah continued, her voice warm. "Juliana and I go way back. We started out as rivals, competing over grades, but eventually we became friends. She's mean sometimes, but she's also fiercely loyal and secretly terrified of losing the people she loves. I'm so happy for her and her fiancé, and I wish them the best." The room toasted, laughter and chatter resuming as the party carried on. Juliana accepted congratulations from her classmates, smiling and playing her part perfectly. Back at home. When they arrived home, Juliana turned to Alex at the door. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly. Alex smiled. "Anytime." She surprised him by giving him a quick hug. "Good night, Alex." "Good night," he replied, watching her as she retreated to her room. Inside her room, Juliana changed into her nightgown and sat on her bed, lost in thought. Her mind replayed Deborah's words. "You're scared of losing the people you love." She sighed, holding her head in her hands. "What if they find out this is all fake? What will they think of me?" Her gaze drifted to the window. "I told myself this was just business, so why? Why am I starting to feel like I don't want this to end?" She slapped her cheeks lightly, trying to shake off the thoughts, but as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't stop wondering. What if Alex was the real thing I've been looking for all along? with first-class honors. Guess I wasn't lying when I called you a first-class graduate. Alex smirked. So, you guessed right. Juliana fell silent for a moment, then said softly, I think I met you for a reason, Alex. I've learned so much from you already. No matter how this ends, I don't regret this. Before Alex could reply, the music shifted to a slow tune. Juliana extended her hand. Dance with me, my love. Alex hesitated, but her smile was enough to convince him. They swayed together on the dance floor, laughing and talking quietly. The toast. As the song ended, Deborah grabbed a mic and tapped it to get everyone's attention. Ladies, it's time for a toast, she announced, holding up her glass. To our future couples-to-be. Juliana Edwards, this one's for you. The room erupted in cheers and applause. Juliana leaned into Alex, blushing slightly but keeping her composure. Deborah continued, her voice warm. Juliana and I go way back. We started out as rivals, competing over grades, but eventually we became friends. She's mean sometimes, but she's also fiercely loyal and secretly terrified of losing the people she loves. I'm so happy for her and her fiancé, and I wish them the best. The room toasted, laughter and chatter resuming as the party carried on. Juliana accepted congratulations from her classmates, smiling and playing her part perfectly. Back at home. When they arrived home, Juliana turned to Alex at the door. Thank you for tonight, she said softly. Alex smiled. Anytime. She surprised him by giving him a quick hug. Good night, Alex. Good night, he replied, watching her as she retreated to her room. Inside her room, Juliana changed into her nightgown and sat on her bed, lost in thought. Her mind replayed Deborah's words. You're scared of losing the people you love. She sighed, holding her head in her hands. What if they find out this is all fake? What will they think of me? Her gaze drifted to the window. I told myself this was just business, so why? Why am I starting to feel like I don't want this to end? She slapped her cheeks lightly, trying to shake off the thoughts, but as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't stop wondering. What if Alex was the real thing I've been looking for all along?